So are we finally going to figure out why he's the golden boy? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episodes 5 and 6 of Golden Boy. Yep, we are doing the final two episodes together. I was kind of like iffy if I wanted to do that, but I decided, it kind of lines up perfectly. I've got to do it. Because, and I'm just going to say this right off the bat, I'm not going to wait till the afterthoughts or anything. You know what this is being replaced by. It's being replaced by Has Been Hotel. Season 2 of that comes out next week. This is going to be like instantly replaced by that. So, yeah, it just makes sense. I believe it comes out Wednesday of next week. So, we'll be getting to that. But just as a note, like after this, there will be an update video going up as well. That's going to explain that next week's going to be a little funky due to various reasons. It'll explain it in the update video, so just tune into that. But let's talk about this. So, through these first 4 episodes of Golden Boy, it's been a ride. Because episodes 1, 2, and 4 were all like the same tonally. Rintaro being a horny weirdo, a lot of like sexy girls, mostly 2 sexy girls. Let's be honest, it's really only the Madam President of the company from episode 1 and then the swim instructor from last episode, because pretty much all the other girls have been underage, which is, Japan, I guess. It's weird and kind of creepy and gross, but, Japan, I guess. A lot of anime does this, and they have a seeming difference with their feelings towards that, I guess is a way to put it. It's not something I really abide by, and not something I really like. But with Golden Boy being a satire and clearly meant to be kind of making fun of these kinds of tropes, it's more digestible that way. It makes it, I wouldn't say it makes it necessarily okay, but it makes it acceptable enough due to the context that you're not supposed to take it seriously. You're not really supposed to take most of this series seriously, except for some reason episode 3. For some fucking reason, episode 3 is very serious and doesn't like tonally fit with episodes 1, 2, and 4. Kintaro is not perverted in it at all. The only perverted character in it is the bad guy, who's terrible and evil. And on top of that, it's really serious and focuses on serious topics, such as this guy trying to marry into a girl's family to steal their land, and on top of that, he sexually assaults her, and Kintaro is like really trying to stop that and really upset by that. And it's just like, okay, I'm not disappointed. I still think it's the best episode, ironically enough. But it's just so unexpected, because it just feels so different tone-wise. But it does fit. Like, it still feels like it's the same show, the same character. It doesn't feel like it's like completely out of place. It's just tone-wise, it's different. But we have 2 episodes here today, and the series has been building up to something with the narration. The narration keeps mentioning, maybe one day Kintaro will save the world. Is that gonna happen here? Because if it does, it should absolutely be accidental. Let's be honest here. If Kintaro somehow saves the world, it should be an entirely complete accident. He should literally stumble into it. That would be the only way that I would accept it. Like, we get the note that he's very smart, that he actually finished his college credits needed for, law school. That's a fucking impressive thing. And we've seen how quick of a learner he is, even able to teach himself computers and how to code and stuff just by briefly watching others do so and I guess doing a little research on his own. That's insane. To like be able to recreate their program and even improve on it in a week is absolutely nuts. Um but yeah, it's that I feel almost needs to come to a head in this finale too. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm just hoping it's enjoyable. And with the voice acting and everything, the goofiness and comedy we have in this series, I have a feeling it will be. I have a feeling we don't have anything to worry about in that regard. But I'm just hoping that, like I said, it's entertaining and that it ends off well. As long as it does that, it's like this series would never like get in anywhere near like a top 10 or anything for me. But, you know, it's a fun watch. So, that being said, I think we're just going to get into this and see what these final two episodes have in store for us. So, let's check it out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So while episode 6, the final episode here, didn't really have too much in the way of like perverted content, sexual content and all, outside of just, you know, showing the Madam President in her outfit again, and Kintaro trying to like clean up the one woman's shirt from the spilled tea, which inevitably caused a lot of titty bouncing. It didn't really have a huge amount of sexual visuals. Oh, there was also the drawings they were doing for, you know, for the animations and all. But like, you know, generally speaking, there wasn't a lot in that, but that's okay because episode 5 like had more sexuality than the entire rest of the series put together. Jesus fuck. But it's really interesting that this did actually have a genuine ending that wrapped everything up and had everything come together, even though like Kintaro's story doesn't like have an end where he settles down or anything. It just continues as normal. Now with all of the girls working together to chase him down, like he just formed a harem accidentally. But yeah, it's just one of those kind of things where it's an ending that just reinstates the status quo, which is fine. There's a lot of shows and whatnot that do that, where I mean, a lot of shows have to end somewhere, and it's like, unless you're a show where you kill off the characters, there's not going to be a definitive like end to that character's life and anything. So you have to leave it open for like, oh, the characters would, you could think of where the characters would go after this. In the case of a show like this, it's just, again, it restores the status quo so that it's like the same thing will just continue to happen. Kintaro will go work more odd jobs, meet more women, better their lives, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the gist of it. So, it's it's really fascinating. But let's talk about these episodes. So episode 5 focused on Kintaro getting this job at a estate, this wealthy estate, that is, very particular, very um, eloquent and fancy. And while there, he ends up like not really fitting in well because he's not really like that. But when he gets caught like obsessing over a toilet, which he does, by the lady of the estate, he gets fired really quickly. It's actually, I think, the quickest he's lost a job in this series. But he ends up finding out, after following her and stalking her like a weirdo, that the lady of the estate is actually this woman he saw on a motorcycle getting off to the vibrations of her motorcycle earlier that day. I think it's supposed to be same day. He ends up following her to a an abandoned building that she took a taxi to, and spies on her while she's literally like naked outside of like some thin panties, like literally getting off while sitting naked and laying naked on her motorcycle. And then after he reveals himself, she just continues to do so right in front of him, while explaining to him that she doesn't like men, and that she just that anything a man can do with his dick, her motorcycle can do better in terms of getting her off. And it's just like, okay. But on top of it, they then form a deal. If he can catch up to her in a race with him on his bike, her on her motorcycle, she'll agree to have sex with him. And the race is obviously pretty wild, pretty crazy. A lot of insane and just impossible shit happens. And he ends up trying to jump a gorge on his bike. Fails, but, survives and is able to keep going because I guess he lands in, enough tree cover that it protects him. But his brakes are destroyed and he just can't stop. But his, like, bravery and just not giving a shit attitude ends up winning her over, and now she wants to fuck him. Like, she very actively wants to fuck him. She makes a very graphic description of wanting to fuck him. This episode 5 was so fucking sexually charged. Like, my fucking god. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm as into that kind of stuff as anyone. Like, I'm not going to hide, like, the fact that I engage in watching porn or hentai or anything. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I don't want to lie about that. And on top of that, it's like I'm not ashamed of it. Because I don't think there's anything to be ashamed about with it. Sex work is work and should be respected just as anything. And that goes for animated sex work too. Although, I guess it's different technically because it's not sex work per se, but you know what I mean. And I believe that there's nothing wrong with engaging in sexuality. I don't believe there's anything wrong with being horny. I think it's pretty natural. So, I have no problem with, like, someone getting off from a toy or a motorcycle or whatever else. Apparently, I've heard women have, like, sat on, like, rumbling washing machines and stuff to get off, which, okay, I guess that could work. But while I don't have an issue with it, it's just the tone that this was set at. Because, like, there's sexual stuff in, like, almost every episode, minus episode 3. Um, but it was so over the top and so intense. And it just, that's what was affecting me more than anything. Not the sexuality itself, the way it was presented. It was so ridiculously over the top. Like, this woman wasn't just getting off to her bike, like she was orgasming like I have never seen anyone orgasm. That was insane. um and I feel like that's the kind of stuff you only see in porn too. It's like I feel like women probably are not that like aggressive about it in real life. Though I mean, I guess it depends on the person. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I also don't know about men and NBs in that regard. I don't know, like, I don't know. I know I'm not that aggressive in real life when I get off. I do not go that far. I do not make that much noise, or I am just not that like insane about it. Um, but while this episode was very clearly meant to be just, really aggressively over sexualized, which again, it's the joke. Most of this series doesn't quite go that far, but then you have an episode that's practically porn. And it's like, yeah, we get it. That's the joke. That's what you're going for. This is the episode that's as over the top with it as it can be. Which I get. Fair. Fine. Fair enough. I understand what they're like kind of parodying there. They're kind of parodying ecchi shows that are like practically pornographic, but like hold back enough to where it can technically not be considered porn or hentai, I guess. So it's like that's clearly what they're like referencing with that episode. Um, which is fine. I think that's entirely fair because again, it's a satire series and it's going to, you know, make fun of this kind of stuff. But it's just like it was a lot. Like I felt out of breath watching that. It also had like the most aggressively blatant nudity. Like I mentioned how episode 4 up to that point had the most nudity with like showing the fantasy Kintaro's fantasy of the swim instructor in the like BDSM suit. But then you get this episode and it's like she's like massaging her tits like to crazy levels. She's literally getting off. And by the way, her tits are like on full display for a good portion of that scene. In fact, pretty much the entire scene while they're at the warehouse. Um it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's like from a viewer perspective, I didn't even really get the chance to like really get into it because of how insane and over the top her reactions to getting off like that were. It's like it was so silly in its portrayal. And I just I didn't even have the chance to like really get into it or get attracted to it because of that. Um it was just a lot. It was a lot. And again, I've watched hentai. I've watched porn and it's like honestly, I think this was more sexually charged than most hentai I've watched, which is saying a lot. That's like kind of crazy. Um but Jesus. It was almost too much if I'm being completely honest here. Um but then we had episode 6 and this was the meta episode. It was all about animation. It was all about like the process of making an anime and just like everything that kind of goes into studio life and work, all of the like issues with the working conditions. It touched on all of this kind of stuff. Um, as well as like very specific information about how the animation process goes. Um, it doesn't go as far as like there's other shows out there that like touch on it just as much, if not more, because there's more time to. Shirobako, well, Shirobako's more about manga, right? But Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin touches on a lot of this because they're literally making an anime. That's literally the point of the series. But yeah, either way, it's one of those that has less sexuality, which, like I said at the beginning of these afterthoughts, makes sense since episode 5 had more than the rest of the series combined. Outside of, like I said, the drawings that they were doing and wiping the tea off the woman's chest, and then of course the Madam President's design, it's like there wasn't really a lot of sexuality in the episode. There wasn't as much perversion. It was, again, more about sending a message about the animation industry and like discussing kind of everything that goes into that, while also um, just kind of bringing everything back around by having all the characters, all these girls from every episode return and help out with this project, whether it's as voice actors or, the biker chick using her speed. I have no idea how Kintaro got in contact with all of them, by the way. To my knowledge, he never had, like, their numbers. But especially, like, some of them, it's like, okay, he called the noodle shop. Easy. He just calls the shop. Um, I guess he was on fairly good terms and at the end with the father, the girl's father from episode 2, because the father appreciated that Kintaro didn't try to like or like took it on himself instead of trying to make excuses or whatnot. So I could see him getting in contact with her because she's probably pretty famous and rich anyway. So like her info would probably be able to be found. Um, Even if I had to go through a couple channels first. The swim instructor, he just calls the swim place. So actually, yeah, I guess he's for a lot of these, he's just calling their locations. Even Madam President, he's just calling the studio. But how did he get in contact with the motorcycle? Unless I guess he called their estate. Though that's something I don't know, like how he would get the number for. I mean, I guess it's not really that big of a deal, but I do like how it brought all of them back and kind of like tied everything together. It really did feel like a finale. It really did feel like this was closing everything out. And that is good. It is good when a finale actually feels like a finale rather than feeling like it's just, another episode. And I feel like most of the time it does. Like most anime you watch, like the final episode of a season or a series will feel bigger and will like close out a lot of plot lines or like end off a final climactic battle or something. I feel like a lot of them do, but there are occasionally those shows where the final episode is just very unremarkable. And luckily, this one wasn't one of those. Also, apparently, I did find out the author that they were talking to, the one who created the manga that they were animating and all for this, was actually the author of Golden Boy. Like, same name, literally designed to look like him. It was actually just an animated version of him. It was a self-insert. Specifically for the meta contextualization of the episode. It was actually the author, and that's why he like had that hit series Golden Girl. It was literally a joke reference to this. That was very intentional. That's really fun. I actually kind of dig it when an author can insert themselves into something like this, as long as it's done well like this, like for a gag or for fun, instead of them trying to like set themselves up with a character or something. That's when it gets weird. That's when it gets fucking creepy and kind of off. But something like this for a gag, it's like, yeah, that's fun. Like he even had his self insert get like super badly injured. It's like he's poking fun at himself, and I love that. I assume that his self insert was in the manga, the original Golden Boy manga as well. But yeah, this really felt like a grand finale to everything. Um, and it actually makes me okay with the fact that this is only 6 episodes long because it feels like it was right. It feels like if you tried to have more in there, it just wouldn't work as well. It wouldn't be as tight knit and as controlled. And so I think it was like, I think having this be as short as it was, I mean, mind you, the manga was also short. I think for the manga and even for the anime was a good choice. I assume there was no filler here. I assume everything that happened was in the original manga. So, yeah, it's probably a case of like, instead of like adding to it to try to make even a full season of like 12 episodes, I'm glad they didn't do that. Because again, everything wrapped up way so perfectly in this. So having it be a 6 episode OVA just was exactly what this needed. Um, and yeah, I think overall, like this series is very fun. Like I said in the pre thoughts, it's not the kind of series that would ever crack like a top 10 or anything, or even get anywhere close to that. But it's one of those shows that it's like you just kind of enjoy for what it is. You enjoy it as a satire of like sexualized characters and just shows in general in the anime industry and manga as well, and just the concepts of that overall. I think it's a real it's got a lot of fun shit to it. It's over the top in the right ways, and it's just fun. It's enjoyable. The voice acting is definitely the biggest sell of it, though, specifically with Kintaro, but some other characters too. Like the one woman in this was like, what the fuck was her voice acting? Like, what the hell? She was. It felt like she was purposely off every line she said. Like the performance felt just a tiny bit off, but intentionally so, which is wild for a number of reasons. And I just, yeah, I just think the voice acting is what really sold this for me. So it's like, I haven't like really checked out the sub for this, and I almost don't want to because I feel like it's just not going to work as well. But, but I had fun with it overall. It's a series that I, outside of maybe watching a couple reactions, I probably wouldn't watch again. It's not the kind of show that it's like I would feel the need to. Plus, if I'm being honest, I feel like it works better when you don't know what's going to happen because it's like the surprise of it, especially with the voice acting, is kind of again part of the appeal. So, when you know what's going to happen, when you're aware of where it's going to go, I just don't think it's going to work quite as well. But overall, this was definitely something worth checking out. And as crazy as it was, as wild as it was, as sexual as it was, they clearly had a lot of fun with this. And got to give them all the credit for every bit of animation work that like goes into it, and every important role that is necessary for making something like this work. Both classic anime like this or even the modern stuff. And we also have to acknowledge the working conditions because that's like a problem that has pretty much always persisted in this industry. So we really have to acknowledge that and like acknowledge how much of a problem it is. Though Mappa had a really big like acknowledgement of it like the other year. I think it was last year where it's like people started boycotting Mappa for a while, myself included. And it's mainly because, their working conditions were atrociously bad. From crunch time to a bunch of other stuff like that, it's just not okay. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had a good time. I definitely had fun reacting to it. So thank you all so much. Tell me your thoughts down below. And once again, we are having things on a little bit of a different schedule next week. You can check out the update video that's going to go up after this does at some point. But just as a note, this is going to be replaced by Has Been Hotel Season 2. Again, it's going to be on Thursday next week. But after that, it's going to return to Fridays as like the normal part of the schedule. But again, watch the update video for all the information on that. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.